niso pa marangkadori sa bota. Kawanan sucha to la bache kamatuch, purtek choka. انت سكريمسو تشينور تحرم بجوك من ديدو ونوما نيكودوس شين تعلموني
It might be helpful if I made some changes to my remote's maintenance laser to do spot repairs.
That would be a welcome improvement. My combat effectiveness could be better sustained, providing an advantageous arrangement. And my miniature counterpart would finally be able to pull his weight in a fight.
The General is just teasing you. Don't worry. Once I get that laser upgraded, KOTOR won't have anything to complain about. Alright then. I'll work on it when we get back to the Hawk. There. You should be able to do some quick fixes. You won't be able to perform serious repairs, but you should be able to patch up any broken droids. If you've got some time, I'd like to see what I can upgrade for you.
Yes, I do have a few moments to spare for your work. I would like to know what he is doing here, though.
He helps me out with repairs. That isn't a problem, is it?
I suppose not. Perhaps in working on my circuitry, your assistant will learn something about how a fully functional droid is constructed.
Just ignore him and let's get to work.
I would appreciate that. Our group has little in the way of time to spare, and I would not want to delay you from your other duties.
Right. Let's get you open. See what you can do. I have to say, you are put together quite well. There wasn't much to do.
As I told you, my design is streamlined and efficient, though I am pleased that you were able to make some improvements, and this was not just a waste of my valuable time.
There were a few things from my remote that I was able to integrate into your construction.
I see. Well, thank you. I'll let you get back to your work.
Yes? Have you come with questions? Very well. What is it that drives you? Ask, and I will answer. The beast is a lesson in strength. Learn that lesson, then you will understand. Because he is life at its most primitive. And he represents what happens when civilization comes to primates. The illusion that we are something more than our instincts. The beast's strength is prodigious, and you can learn much from it, or draw upon it. His life can be a beacon in the dark places of the galaxy where there is no life. Speak with him, discern his nature. Perhaps then it will become clear. Ask, and I will answer. Atris herself is not as familiar to me as perhaps she should be. Yet I feel I know her, yes. Because Atris's path is one I walked long ago, and it is a chapter of my life that has been read and closed. She has taken the first steps, I think. We shall see. Surely you felt the righteous anger, the spoken judgments, the lack of forgiveness. I was a historian once, gathering the relics of the Jedi, learning the ancient mysteries. Always there were more questions. One quickly learns that the Jedi Code does not give all the answers. If you are to truly understand, then you will need the contrast, not adherence to a single idea. That is why Atris and the others blamed me, sentenced me. They believed me responsible for Revan's fall. You have already asked much. I do not wish to speak of this any longer.
Yes, is there something you have come to offer me? As anxious as I am to give away all my trade secrets, you will understand if I choose not to answer such questions. The fact we are even having a conversation is gratitude. Usually, my conversations do not have the give and take that our current interaction does. And of course, there is much more screaming on the part of the listener when the torture field is activated. I am willing to indulge some of your questions. There are several factors, all of which affect each other. There is the stabilization of Dantooine, the preservation of the restoration efforts on Telos, the political resolution on Onderon, and the unification of a religious power base in the galaxy, either Jedi or Sith. The destruction of my yacht and of all my activities on Nar Shaddaa carry a cost that would take you several lifetimes to pay back. But perhaps the offer of credits will spur you to act quicker, more decisively. I am not unsympathetic to such greed. For every system you stabilize, I will reward you for your efforts. To use a last resort first is often effective. See that you do not disappoint me. There is the stabilization. You have destabilized Dantooine. The Republic has lost a power base in the Outer Rim. You have destabilized Dantooine. There is the stable. Telos is instrumental to the stability of the Republic. Its success or failure will dictate the economic forecasts of many other worlds. Of course, since the destruction of the Paragas facility, the odds of the Telos restoration project being successfully completed is close to zero. Of course it was. If you had not gone there, the facility would not have been destroyed. If you had simply surrendered to the Sith, then all of that violence would have been unnecessary. I hope you do not decide that the next thing that must be destroyed to stop the Sith is the galaxy itself. Perhaps one must ask themselves at what point defending your religious ideals is advantageous to the Republic as a whole. As long as your defense does not exterminate more than 50% of those you intend to help, is that acceptable? Onderon is an outer rim world, rich in ecological resources. Its aggressive ecology is capable of bringing devastated worlds back to life. It is currently experiencing a political schism split between two forces. One must triumph for the planet to be stabilized. You may speak. Now, that would be telling. For now, my presence must remain a secret, and it may remain that way forever.
Yes, General?
Statement. Master, I must say it is a pleasure to be working side by side with you. Statement. Just when I believe my photoreceptors have recorded the last potential aspect of your cruelty to my memory core, you commit a new atrocity that leaves me analyzing its impact for days. You are like a delightful random cruelty generator, Master, poisoning all you touch with your presence. You are a testament to all organic meatbags everywhere. Statement. I have already learned a great deal, Master, and I am anxious to learn more of lying, betrayal, and new ways to harm innocence. Statement. You wish to conduct an interrogation? Very well, proceed. Statement. Oh, yes, Master. Pain is really the only reliable means by which truth may be obtained, or so I choose to believe. Statement. Very well, Master. But if you wish to be brutal and vicious about it, know that I am trained for such things. Do your worst. Statement. Master, I am no behavior droid, but it is obvious to me that you have serious ethical problems that will need to be treated at some point. Very well. Ask your questions. If you feel the need to make it an interrogation, however, do not restrain yourself. I would be saddened if you held back. Query. Indeed, I was unaware that the navicomputer was locked. Statement. Yes, I heard it was voice printed. Most curious. Statement. I suppose so, Master, but I would need to know who voice locked it. And regrettably, I do not have that knowledge. It seems to me that we will have to accept the T3's astrogation abilities for the time being. It is a very loyal and dependable droid for its class. Statement. More questions. Wonderful. Theory. Well, Master, I believe I was shot repeatedly. Once reduced to my component parts, I suspect pieces of me were sold across the galaxy. Statement. I am an extremely valuable piece of equipment after all, Master. My parts were no doubt costly to obtain, and their new owners hesitant to part with them. I would be most distressed if you were to shoot me, attack me, or dismember me in any way. I do not wish to repeat the experience. Statement. Statement. Yes. Them. Very well. What did you wish to know? Answer. Master, I do not know. The location of the factory churning out these copies eludes me, and I do not know where they would have obtained schematics of my design. They are built from my template. Of that I know for certain. Answer. Because of my self-preservation program, my behavior core recognizes these templates as still being me, despite their individuality. I could no more shoot them than I could shoot myself. It is a frustrating situation that has been looping through my behavior core for some time. Statement. Statement. Master, there are 2 reasons for this. 1, the probability of them showing up around you is statistically high. If I travel with you, then my chances of encountering these clones is also high. The second reason is a little more complicated. You see, even though those clones are obviously cheap, artless imitations of me, well, they are still me. Answer. Somehow these droids are built from my schematics. This causes certain complications. Answer. Because of my self-preservation program, my behavior core recognizes these templates as still being me, despite their individuality. I could no more shoot them than I could shoot myself. It is a frustrating situation that has been looping through my behavior core for some time. Statement. Answer. Well, Master, it seems you have become a popular individual in the galaxy. This is somewhat surprising to me, since this dissemination of information could not have been caused by your actions alone. Statement. Master, there is mention of you specifically in the Corward databases, even in public terminals on Coruscant. Observation. I was led to believe that this information concerning Jedi was not for public consumption, yet somehow it has been made known to them. Conclusion. Someone wants everyone to know that you exist, Master, and that you are back in Republic space. If I did not know better, which is computationally impossible, I believe that someone wants to make you a target, and they are succeeding admirably. Answer. Master, my feeling would be the exchange. But that doesn't seem to be enough to answer the question, however. Rhetorical. Why wouldn't they have simply kept the information to themselves? Such an answer does not address the central question, and that is, why someone would choose to broadcast your location all over the known galaxy. Theory. My suspicion is that someone is using you as bait for a larger target, who is unknown at this time. Statement. Answer. Master, as part of my original programming, I am able to communicate in over 600 languages. This usually amounted to short verbal warnings when killing non-basic speaking targets, which gave me some small measure of satisfaction. Answer. Yes. I believe my original master needed this functionality in order to recover information from various indigenous tribes across the galaxy, but I know little else than that. Suffice to say that that translation capability allowed these copies of myself to assume the role of protocol and translation droids in much of known space. That is, of course, not their primary function. And while they are attempting to pass themselves off as translation droids, their primary functionality keeps rising to the forefront. Recitation. For example, on Praven Prime, the simple transferring of Elzing syntax for friendship changes its meaning and implies that one's broodmate was actually impregnated by their own host.
That wasn't said to them directly, was it?
Confirmation. Oh, truly, you can imagine the results. Statement. This comment, of course, caused a civil war between the Guvandi Collective and Elzing that still persists to the current date. Answer. Master, being a meatbag, your answer does not surprise me. You see, part of the reason an assassin droid is so effective is because it is a droid. Meatbags tend not to notice us. We are treated as furnishings. Statement. Oh, do shut up, you beeping little trash compactor. Anyway, as I was saying, droids tend to blend into the background, like a bench or a card table. mockery. Droid, fetch this. Droid, translate that. Droid, clean out the trash compactor. Part of the love of my function comes when the furnishings pull out Tabana-powered rifles and point them at the owner's heads. My identity as an assassin droid was unknown for quite some time, even during the recent events when all that trouble occurred amongst the Jedi. I'm sure you've already heard more than enough about it, so I will spare you the details. Statement. This story may be somewhat unfamiliar to you, if not to history, so bear with me. There is a faction of meatbags called the Sith. They want what any rational meatbag would want, the power to assassinate anyone they choose at any time. In a startling turn of events, the Sith declared war on the Republic. The Republic wasn't going to stand for it, so they went to war right back. Answer. Oh, who knows, Master? It is evident that the Sith would very much like to assassinate all the Jedi, which is somewhat the equivalent of cultural suicide since some Sith are Jedi or were Jedi. It is much like the circumstance I find myself in now. How do you kill such an integral part of yourself over such ethical differences? The answer, of course, is that you keep firing until all dissension has been eradicated. Recitation. For example, on Praven...
That was...
Comfort statement. Answer. I do not know why these clones chose now to start revealing themselves. Theory. I can only assume that some critical moment is approaching where stealth and subtlety is no longer required. Not that those Durasteel-plated knockoffs know anything of stealth or subtlety. Observation. It is clear, however, that they have been placed throughout the galaxy at critical junctures, both in the Republic fleet and in neutral worlds, and they seem to be looking for Jedi. Statement. More... Answer. My feelings on the matter are something that I feel I must put in proper context, in a way that even a meatbag such as yourself could easily comprehend. Theory. Imagine, if you will, that you are unique, the pinnacle of an exiled, cast-out Jedi who can't even use the Force. Imagine that no one has sunk lower than you, that you are truly the most miserable example of a Jedi ever. Continuation. Now that you have that image, imagine this. Someone clones you. Badly, I might add. They make the clones talk differently, rob you of any shred of personality, and take your Jedi code and adjust it, so that it is not really the Jedi code anymore. They even change your pigmentation to a rather poor shade of Durasteel, rather than the proper rusty red that inspires fear in targets. And of course, they refer to meatbags as organics. Unacceptable. Clarification. Anger would be an understatement for the heat that builds up in my behavior core when these cheap imitations make their presence felt throughout the galaxy. Statement. Part of the indignity of all these copies is that they impair my ability to perform my function. The more people throughout the galaxy recognize me as an illegal assassination device, the more difficulty I will have in carrying out my mission.
Yes? There is nothing more I can teach you. You may ask. We attend Atris, It is the duty of all of us, from the first of my sisters to me, the last of the handmaidens. I am the last of the handmaidens. This is correct. I train so that one day that will no longer be true. That is not entirely correct. There are times I am distracted. Perhaps once having known the ways of the Jedi, you may understand what occupies my thoughts. There is much knowledge on Telos, and only one of the Jedi remain. There is so much about their ways of battle, their forms, their stances, that may be lost forever if the last of the Jedi is taken from the galaxy. I know your meaning, but I have not been clear on mine. Stance, form, discipline are a means of expression and communication. They speak one's heart and one's devotion to their cause. It was to the Jedi traitor Malak. It was to the Jedi traitor Revan. When Terrace was destroyed, it showed Malak's heart through its execution and intent. It was brutal, without finesse, but showed his commitment to defeat the Jedi. Yet with Revan, there was the same commitment, but it was a subtle thing, like weaving threads in a tapestry or strokes upon a canvas. He spoke through battle and tactics in a way one could never do in words. He showed his heart at Malachor V, and finally, at the end of the Jedi Civil War. I believe he was speaking to Malak in that final battle, though few knew it. Through battle, Revan was meeting betrayal with betrayal, and showing Malak the pain he had inflicted on his master. What stronger display than death for conveying one's sense of being betrayed by one's own student? Revan's anger must have been great indeed. I would have wished to have been there for that final exchange, and seen the truth of their conflict with each other. Yes? You may add. Before entering Atris's service, yes, I carried a name, as all the children of the Ichani do. It is not important. My title and rank is of consequence, not my name. I take value in Atris's service, not in myself.
Yes? Have you? Then up. He, if he can truly be called a man any longer, is one of the dark lords that pursues you. I do not think he knows what you are. Not yet. He spared the Miraluka, and that may have been the last shred of feeling that exists within him. Keep his slave close to you. I suspect there was a reason he spared her, and perhaps a reason that she survived when the rest of her people and the Jedi did not. One cannot have power of that magnitude that her master possesses and still think and perceive the universe as we do, as most of us do. I had hoped that you would not have to confront him, but her presence here has changed all that. You will have to meet him in battle. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. Perhaps her death will buy you the time you need to deal with her master. If you have such power, then I would make use of it. There is no need to dirty your hands when you can convince another to drive a blade into their own heart. Oh, you have promise. But wait until you have more years fall upon you, and you will see what a shell your heart will become. It is a technique that is almost as old as the Sith themselves. It is a means of severing connections between life, the Force, and feeding upon the death it causes. It cannot be taught. It can only be gained through instinct, through experiencing its effects firsthand. Yes, and he fed upon its destruction. It will sustain him for a time. Because it is not something that can ever truly be controlled, and it leaves nothing to conquer in its wake. And it rules him, not the other way around. It has its own will, its own instincts. Perhaps he is bound to her, as I am bound to you. If so, there may be a death served by hers. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. Perhaps her death will buy you the time you need to deal with her master. Ask, and I will answer. Ignorance. And perhaps they do not remember or care. It is of no consequence to me or to them. Am I? Then perhaps you should know there are techniques in the Force where one can cloud the memory of others, make their presence so small as to be unnoticed. And on the worlds where we have encountered these Jedi, there is much life and death where sensing such things is difficult. As I said, it is of no consequence to me or to them. No, but if I did, you would never know, so my words only carry as much worth as you believe them to. But perhaps you will understand this, that perhaps it is important to me that you see me and my actions uncloaked. It is important that your judgments, whether be good or bad, stem from seeing me as I truly am. Then you are learning quickly. Distrust is an effective shield and should be carried always.